In 2018, when a 13-year-old girl went to her friend's house just 1.5 kilometers away, she had no idea that what was about to happen to her would forever wound the collective consciousness of Nepal. Because this case wasn't just about the tragic loss of a girl. Today's case is about Nepal's justice system and police negligence. How, even after 7 years, an innocent child's case remains unresolved, and that, too, just because of police carelessness. The case we are going to talk about today is that of Nirmala. How justice can be so close, yet never comes. For today's case, I will take you to Nepal, which is also called the roof of the world. As small as this country is in area, its cultures are equally colorful. Nirmala, a 13-year-old resident of this same Nepal, was a regular teenager. She was a 9th-grade student at Saraswati Secondary School and lived in Bhair Municipality, Kanchanpur district. At home, she lived with her mother, Durga Devi, her elder sister, Manisha, and her younger sister, Saraswati. Now, because Nirmala had no brothers, her father, Mr. Raj, was so disappointed that he abandoned Durga Devi along with his 3 daughters. This was because he had only ever wanted a son. And for this reason, he had left Nirmala's mother for another woman 9 years prior. But Durga Devi loved her daughters dearly. For all these years, she gave her daughters immense love. She educated them, all on the strength of just a small stall. But because surviving with just this work was very difficult for 4 people, Durga Devi would cross the Nepal border every day to go to Uttarakhand. There, she would carry heavy loads and earned extra money doing this work. Imagine the kind of risk involved in this job. But she never gave up so that her daughters could study and do something good in their lives. So, as you can imagine, this family was barely surviving. They weren't rich, but they were very hard-working. On one hand, Nirmala's mother went to Uttarakhand to earn money, and on the other hand, her daughters helped her with household chores. Moreover, they also used to sit at her stall. Now, seemingly, the morning of July 26, 2018, was like any other. But this family would never have thought that this day would change their lives forever. On this day, Durga Devi left home for work at 8 a.m. Nirmala's plan for the day was to go to her friend Roshni Bam's house so they could complete their homework together and study. So, around 11 a.m. that day, she set out on her bicycle to her friend's house. Roshni's house was only 1.5 kilometers from Nirmala's house, so naturally, no one feared anything bad would happen. After all, children of that age go to their friends' houses, their school, their tuition, or other places to play. Plus, it was still morning at that time, so nobody could have imagined that something tragic was going to happen to her. Upon reaching her friend Roshni's house, Nirmala stayed there for 3 to 4 hours, during which they studied, and most likely they also chatted. Because that's what happens when you go to a friend's house to study, right? Now, around 3 p.m., Nirmala left her friend's house, and that was it. After this point, she never returned to her mother and sisters at home, and no one could understand where she had disappeared on just a 1.5-kilometer route. When they went to the police, as usual, the police refused to file a missing persons report, because less than a day had passed since Nirmala's disappearance. The police told her mother, because she was so worried, to wait until the next morning, but clearly it was already too late by then. The next day, on July 27th, a local man found Nirmala's bicycle near the road in a sugarcane field. Upon further search, a man found her lying unconscious in the same field. In fact, this location was only 500 meters away from her friend Roshni's house, which is so strange to think about. Nobody knew that so much could happen to her in such a short distance. As soon as the news of Nirmala being found reached her family, they were not only distressed, but also angry, because they had gone to the police the previous day at the right time. But because the police took no action, they had lost a family member today. In fact, her family had even refused to perform the last rites. They wanted to do so only when the police would heed their demands and when Nirmala's wrongdoers would be caught. Now, this case was not just about a girl going missing and being found. When Nirmala was discovered, first of all, as I said, her clothes were missing. Secondly, there were many marks on her neck, chest, and arms which pointed to physical assault. According to the initial investigation, Nirmala had first faced abuse and then tragically lost her life. Even 3 days after her tragic death, when the police had not arrested anyone, the people of Nepal, especially students, were outraged. Protests spread across the country, and everyone questioned Nepal's justice system. They wanted Nirmala to get justice quickly so that no girl would ever feel unsafe again. The biggest flaw in this case was police negligence. If they had acted responsibly, the case could have been solved the very same day. But the truth about their carelessness soon came out. On July 26th, when Nirmala's mother went to the station for help, Inspector Jagdish Prasad Bhatta was busy drinking instead of searching for the missing child. Later, when Nirmala was found, a viral video showed how officers contaminated the crime scene instead of preserving evidence. Standard protocols were ignored, and crucial DNA traces were destroyed. Even after huge public anger, senior officials reacted very late. The chief of Kanchanpur Police, Dilli Raj Bista, reached the crime scene 4 days after the incident. Weeks later, police presented Dilip Singh Bista as the main accused. But Dilip was mentally challenged, and locals believed he was made a scapegoat. Soon, DNA reports proved he was not involved, and protests grew stronger. During one protest, police firing even took the life of a 14-year-old boy. Again and again, police kept arresting suspects, declaring them guilty, but every time DNA tests showed no match. Over 120 people were tested, yet none matched the samples. Nirmala's family believed the evidence had been mishandled from the beginning. Her mother even filed cases against police officials, but later, all were cleared without accountability. Suspicion also fell on Nirmala's friend Roshni and her sister Babita because of their strange behavior that day, as well as possible links to a senior officer's family, but due to lack of evidence, they too were released. Nirmala's parents even traveled 35 hours to Kathmandu to meet the Prime Minister, who promised justice. Sadly, years later, no progress has been made. More than 7 years have now passed. Nirmala's case remains unresolved and the real culprit is still free. This tragic story highlights the weaknesses of Nepal's system. As a local saying goes, only God knows Nepal's laws.